Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Rose and today we're making some Christmas things. So last year I used some fabric scraps. To make this, a stocking. So I had used some scraps from hems that were cut from gowns. Also, I used also for a base a sweater that had some holes in it and that couldn't be repaired. So this is kind of like an upcycle and I really kind of fell in love with it. I have extra material from this. I don't have extra from this, but we're gonna work something else out, and I have not enough of this guy, but I have a header from this. So this is like from the days when I used to work in the fashion industry. I would always collect this because if no one took it, it would just end up going directly into the garbage. And I wanted to be a little more sustainable than that. And this is the perfect way to use some fabric scraps. So in addition to this, there's one other product that I'm making today, and it's what I've seen some people make like little stockings, but for ornaments. And I thought it would be really nice to use some of the material that I had from special garments that I made this past year and make some ornaments. So I recently got married and I have the scraps from that. So that's one of the things I would like to use to make these little ornaments. And I think they're just gonna be nice little keepsakes. So I'm gonna draft the pattern for that, and I'm gonna make a free pattern for you as well. So if you're interested in making this, you can just follow the link below and make one for yourself. So let's get to sewing Christmas things. So I'm working from the base of the stocking, and this is quite literally scraps that I'm zigzagging together. I made this Cecilia Benson look-alike, and I had a bunch of this fabric left over, and I just love it, so I have to put it to use. I did a zigzag stitch, and I'm just removing any of the extra seam allowance so it could be nice and neat. I next cut out a fabric stencil of this. So this is just a really thin crepe, and I'm using a straight stitch just to go all the way around to have that shape. I'm next using the layering of all of the extra fabric, all of the sequins over it, and everything is going to be hand stitched. Last year when I made this for myself, I ended up breaking my sewing machine, and that is not happening this year. After the layout is complete, I'm just finalizing everything and pinning everything into place. I want to make sure that there's a lot of clean edges and it looks as neat as possible. I also am going in just to reduce bulk and trimming down all of the seam allowances so the stocking is not too bulky. Now that everything is pinned into place, I am just going around the whole border of the stocking to secure everything down with a basting stitch. I'm going to speed this process up just a little bit for you because this quite literally took forever, but after a bit I went off to the couch and watched a Christmas movie and did the basting, and it made the time go by much quicker. So the first part of the stocking is done. I have all of the sequin portion sewn on. I use the basting stitch to go all around the edges. Everything is kind of done by hand. And then I also use an invisible stitch to sew down and merge all of these pieces together. The next part is going to be adding the back part, so it's a full stocking. So I sewed it, well, this is pinned together. However, this is supposed to be the outside. However, I think maybe I like this a little bit better. I wasn't going to use it initially, but I think this part is a little too white. So I'm going to remove this. And then I'm just going to use this as the back and then cut everything out and sew the two pieces together. So after that is done, then we're gonna add this like a faux fur to the top so that it could be a full stocking, and then also that little loop. My loop is also repurpose. This was going to be a top that I was trying to follow from an Ula Johnson top that I kind of fell in love with. However, the material I was using was too thick and it didn't work out, but it's perfect for this. So I kind of snipped off this tie and it's going to be the loop of the stocking. So this is also what I used last year. So let's continue. Then I attached the right sides together using a back stitch. So it's going forward and then backwards just to create an extra supportive layer. Because I didn't like how messy the insides looked, I decided to also add an extra layer of lining. So I had extra material of that really lightweight material and I ended up just doing a really simple lining and then attached everything together. After the lining was pinned into place, it's time to cut this nice faux fur cuff. In order to cut faux fur, you really want to start from the back. This helps to prevent you from cutting through too much of the pile, and you can just follow the wales of the knit. After the cuff is cut and you sew the seams together, it's proper sewing math that I'm doing right now, that I'm trying to remember to think what is the proper way to sew this so that the cuff is on the right side, but everything gets sewn together eventually and it comes out really beautiful. Next up, we're creating another stocking, but this one is for your tree, and it came out so freaking cute. So my first step that I made was I wanted to make sure that it came out the proper size. So I'm creating the initial size of the stocking first. I can create a stocking from memory, but turns out I can't. Went to Pinterest to kind of create perfect overall silhouette for the stocking and it came out really nice. It has a good curve to it and a lot of character. After the stocking silhouette is complete, it's time to work on the cuff, which I did, and I cut everything out. And you see me labeling here, cut 2, JK, it's cut 4. So please disregard this, I do fix it later. So the white fabric here is scraps from my wedding dress that I'm going to be using for one silhouette of the stocking, and this is going to be the fabric that I'm making my daughter's first Christmas dress in. So I'm going to do 2 different silhouettes, and they're both kind of swapping. Also for this cuff pattern piece, it says cut 1, but you do need actually 2, so please disregard. And these are my options. So option 1 with mostly white and option 2 with mostly plaid. And let's get sewing. Sewing for the stocking comes together really quick. You're just going to want to sew everything together. So the seam allowance I used here is about 1/4 inch and the hardest part is sewing the curves. So please take your time. With the right sides together, you're going to sew the stocking all the way, leaving about a 2 inch at the back of the stocking opening so that you can flip this and reverse it. Before we flip the stocking, we do want to trim down the seam allowance and trim and clip into those curve lines so that everything flips nice and evenly. When it comes time to flipping your stocking, you're going to want to pull one side out from that hole and then you're going to push that outside inward so you're creating that lining layer. Once your stocking is inverted, we're going to close that 2 inch opening and you can give this a nice little press. I think you can probably skip the pressing until later, until everything is finished. Next is to push the lining inward into the stocking and you can use a pencil to really pull the toe all the way together and then all you have to do is turn that little cuff down and your stocking is complete. So you can use this as a little stocking stuffer, add some little cash in there, and add a little loop and add it onto your tree. I hope you like this video. This pattern for this tree ornament is available in the link below. Please like and subscribe for more content, and see you next time.